Breaking news, Kimberly Cheadle, director of Secret Service, has resigned following a disastrous performance on Capitol Hill yesterday, facing a...
It was, I think, a historically bad fuck-up. It was impressive how big of a fuck-up it was.
Relentless grilling from members of both parties. AOC asked some great questions, Nancy Mace as well, and then the leaders of that committee, Jamie Raskin and James Comer, had penned a joint letter calling on her to resign, and she has now done so, which is absolutely the right move, and I am glad to see it. The failures on display the weekend prior, when Donald Trump was almost assassinated, were spectacular and depressing.
Her statements were pretty simple.
Well, you got to keep in mind, too, is that, like, somebody also got killed. Somebody also got killed besides Trump, right? I mean, her not being on top of it got somebody else killed. Because if they had stopped the kid from getting on that roof, he would have never shot that other guy. And injuries. Yeah, exactly.
She said the Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders and financial infrastructure. On July 13th, we fell short of that mission. She also said the scrutiny over the last week has been intense and that it will continue to remain our operational, as our operational tempo increases. As your director, I take full responsibility for the security lapse. So, yeah,
good.
That makes sense. That was in an email to Secret Service employees this morning. I think it makes sense because, like I said when we discussed this, there was one of two options where she could keep her job. Explain that it's a long-standing...
She's not going to keep her job. She's completely incompetent. And you know, we want to know why I knew it was over? Is because a lot of the senators that asked her questions asked bad questions. And a person who is competent and good at their job would have been able to explain why you couldn't give the answer to some of those questions in a way that made sense. But she didn't do anything.
Policy and this exposed a weakness.
So she was totally incompetent.
Tell us exactly what went wrong and who was responsible. If not you, we didn't get that. It makes sense for her to step down.
Yeah, she really got it from
she knew it was over?
All members of Congress yesterday. That hearing did not go well for her. She really didn't answer very many questions. She was asked very pointedly and directly about the security lapses, why they did not have that roof under control, why it was deemed outside the perimeter if the range of the AR-15 is 600 yards and you could clearly get a shot off and hit Donald Trump from that distance, why it was not considered in the perimeter. You know, why he'd had a, and I'm not a gun expert, but he'd had a kind of scope with him that you can use to do land surveying. You can use to do a couple different things, but it helps.
He's talking
you
about a
have
rangefinder.
Accurate shot.
Yeah.
He had that kind of equipment with him when he was checked by security, and they just let him keep it. I mean, they'll seize your bubble gum if you try to get into a secure area these days. They won't let you take it. They take people's water. They take anything that could be remotely suspicious to them. They seize it. So the fact that they let him keep that, or that didn't send a signal like, what's going on with that guy? And there's some reporting that it did. They just didn't. Then they lost track of him, like they were watching him, and then he kind of.
Where'd he go? What?
Got outside their radar and like, oh well, it's crazy.
Yeah, they were told about this guy 56 or 57 minutes before Trump even started talking.
It's totally crazy, and it's given rise, as you said earlier when we discussed this on the show, it's given rise to quote-unquote conspiracy theories, because people are like, how could they, this seems so incompetent, how could they just let this happen? Which is why I know a lot of people are thinking, were they involved? Did they want it to happen? Is there another shooter? What's going on? Which is, all, obviously, people are right to have questions, and we need a full accounting of what went wrong, although it seems like really basic and awful incompetence for which Kimberly Cheadle is responsible, and she was correct to resign.
And to speak to those conspiracy theories a little bit, one that I haven't brought up on the show yet.
That's another thing, bro, is like this gives conspiracy Andes so much ammo. It does. And hey, I mean, it's not like they're totally out of their fucking mind either. I feel like they're right in a lot of these cases. Like, yeah, how the fuck did this even happen?
That's a little concerning is while this was being aired, the congressional questioning of Cheadle yesterday, she was asked about a second gunman. A lot of people have questions about this because a transmitter was founded on his person at the time of the attempted assassination. People think he was in communication with someone, especially considering the reports of Iran having some kind of security threat towards the former president.
Right.
This was
and see, this is the problem, is that when a person behaves suspiciously, it arises suspicion from places that it shouldn't. Because now people don't know where to look to find a lie, so they assume the lie is everywhere. She was correct. The director was correct in not saying whether there was a second shooter or not. Because if she had said that there was a second shooter, she could have potentially identified the fact that there would be, and then caused the person who is in that second shooter position to be more careful and more nervous and behave more irrationally because they know that they might be getting pursued. You see what I'm saying? So, like, you should never say that publicly. Because at that point, it's like if you know that they're after you, then you're going to be even more careful. Whereas if you don't know they're after you, maybe you're not. It's a degree of probability. So this was one of the only instances where actually she made the right call. And this is the issue, is that when you behave like a sus liar, people assume everything you do is sus and lying. Even though in this circumstance it makes sense.
Interesting. And so when
right,
she
this was enhanced
asked,
security. This was Iran threatened him, and this was enhanced security. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine. It's ridiculous. But people had so many questions about this. During the hearing, she was asked, and there were reports on Twitter. People said that the stream cut. I don't know if they went to commercial. They said across many networks, the stream cut. I looked it up yesterday, and she said, we haven't found evidence of a second shooter.
Yeah.
But it does give way to conspiracy theories. That's a ridiculous one. But what's the deal with the transmitter? That's what I have questions about. Are we investigating if he acted alone? I guess that's under the purview of the FBI. I want to know from Kimberly Cheadle that she's turning everything she has over to Congress and the FBI. And I think
she's probably not going to do that, because if she did, she could potentially open herself up for personal liability if the negligence was that big, which I bet it probably was. And so she's not going to do that unless it's absolutely required and it's like basically taken away from her.
Feeling like public servants are withholding information from the public creates the conditions where not just people on that committee are asking her to resign, but a lot of calls from the public on the right and the left. They want her to resign. AOC was very hard on her. Ro Khanna asked tough questions.
As I said, I think that she should run for president. She's united both Democrats and Republicans in a way that nobody has before. This is amazing. This is the most country unity we've had since probably 9/11.
It's not
amazing.
Just Nancy Mace and the like that were hard on.
Everybody thinks this person's a fucking idiot.
Very bipartisan. This is the rare kind of bipartisanship that I actually appreciate. There was a statement from President Joe Biden on her resignation. Biden writes, Jill and I
should have said rip bozo. Bro, if Joe Biden had tweeted that out, I'd be like, you know what? Let's vote for him again. That's fine. Yeah, you know what? That's funny. Let's go for it.
Grateful to Director Kim Cheadle for her decades of public service. She has selflessly dedicated.
I can't believe Biden would have said this.
Protect our nation throughout her career in the United States Secret Service. We especially thank her for answering the call to lead the Secret Service during our administration. We're grateful
I don't know about answering
for her
the call.
service to our family. As a leader, it takes honor and courage and incredible integrity to take full responsibility for an organization tasked with one of the most challenging jobs in public service. The independent review to get to the bottom of what happened on July 13th continues, and I look forward to assessing its conclusions. We all know what happened that day can never happen again. As we move forward, I wish Kim all the best, and I will plan to appoint a new director soon.
That's about as good as it's going to be.
Kind statement from Joe Biden.
What a nice guy.
And from her statement, I thought the Secret Service was just protecting high-level personnel. The part about financial infrastructure, I feel like at one point, maybe a civics class, I learned that was a part of what they do. But it feels...
Yeah, there it is. And so, more reasonably press, I mean, there it is. So, Biden doesn't tweet, his press secretary got caught tweeting for him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The Republicans already asked for Biden's resignation because Joe asked him for back as director? No, I don't think so. But yeah, that's basically what it was. Let me link you guys the video. Biden's gone. I mean, I don't think he's gone, bro. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what would I really say? Like, what's the percentage? I don't think that I really have a percentage about it. But what I do have is I think that there is a good chance that he doesn't finish the term. But I think at this point he will. Like, if he was able to get through COVID, I think that if he doesn't step down within like next week, he will probably finish the term out. Just having kids, he tweeted? No, I mean, his Twitter account had a message go out. I wouldn't say that he tweeted. He's not dead? Yeah, I was really concerned about that. I thought it was totally possible that he could have passed away, and they were just like, or he was like in the process of it, and they were trying to like hide it. Or not really hide it, but you know what I mean.